So now you guys come back from tour, you record the video, and the video does good. At what point does he get his first solo deal?
I think Tupac and Raw Fusion, which was me and Fuse, I think we got our deals in 91.
Okay, you got a deal too at the same time.
Raw Fusion. So we were recording our album at the same time. So at one point we had a 24-hour block at Starlight Studio, the studio we were recording, and it was us, Raw Fusion, Tupac, Digital Underground, and Gold Money were recording all at the same time. So we just 8-hour increments. We would all just kind of rotate and use the studio.
Okay. Did you help? Were you there? I don't want to say help, but were you there when Tupac was recording his first album?
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
For me, it was a party, you know, because like I said, so say if it was the end of my session and Tupac's was starting, I would just stay over and kind of hang out and kick it and check out what he was doing. And if he asked me to jump on something or help with anything, then I would do it. But I was there for the majority of the recording of that album.
Because you have a line in Brenda's Got a Baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you were there when that was recorded, I take it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. There was no internet back then, so you had to be there. You know, we were always just hanging out in each other's sessions. So, you know, you have to remember and realize, like, for you, you're thinking, what was it like to record with Tupac? It wasn't like that. It was just he was just
At that point, he wasn't even really Tupac yet, you know?
Yeah, so we were just in there. We were just all the homies. Just, you're recording? We're drinking 40s and passing them to each other and kicking it. And the same thing in my sessions. He's hanging out as well. So they were all the same. So it wasn't like his session was more important or different than any of ours. We were just all recording. Like I said, we had a 24-hour block. Anytime we wanted, we knew somebody was going to be at the studio, so you could just go up there and see what was happening.
I didn't really learn about Tupac till Juice. Mm. You know, when I was watching Juice with a friend, he was like, yo, that dude's a rapper. I was like, he is? Oh, okay. You know, but I didn't, I didn't learn about Pac till a little bit later. But what was it like when the Humpty Dance came out?
It's crazy. I mean, shit blew up immediately. You know, it was almost like an instant hit, right? So, like I said, we had toured Europe off of Do What You Like, which was a hit in Europe. We came home, we released Sex Packets, the album. Humpty Dance comes out. Next thing you know, we're traveling the United States off this hit record that just blew up, like I said, almost immediately. And from that song, we stayed working heavily and consistently for like the next 3 years. And that was like the meat of, or the height of our popularity from like 1990 to like 1994. But Humpty Dance is a song that catapulted us. So, you know, after Humpty Dance, it was just like a string of things that we did. We did Same Song, which introduced Tupac. Then we did Kiss You Back on the very next album, which was a huge hit. So it was just we had like a 3 or 4 year run just consistently putting out great music that people received and were receptive to, which had us, we stayed out on the road and we stayed just busy. And that's.
Yeah, Humpty Dance, when that song, that was the biggest song at the time. When it came out, it was at least as far as I remember.
It was big.
Like, it was one of those songs, you know, where it's just everywhere. On the radio all the time. Everybody at school loved it. It was just like, you know, once a year, twice, two times, maybe twice a year or something. There's just those songs where just, you know, it's just crazy. It was one of those songs. Definitely, man. At least that's how I remember it, anyway.
Nah, it was.
Yeah. And so now you guys get these, you know, big hits. You guys are touring. What are the tours like at this point?
They're just, it's fun, you know. It was just real fun.
Is there any stories with Shock G from those times that you could share?
Yeah, well, let me just say, like, you know, our first tour was with Big Daddy Kane. We were out with MC Light, Queen Latifah, Third Base, Chill Rob G, Public Enemy, Kid and Play, Kwame, Heavy D, oh man, Two Live Crew. Like within those tours, we probably, anybody that was hot, we performed with them. So, you know, the best story that I could tell is like just the camaraderie of all the groups. You know, so just imagine, like now everything is so separated. Like, oh, I only listen to trap. Oh, I only listen to West Coast. Oh, I only listen to the. It wasn't none of that. It's like, it didn't matter if you were Big Daddy Kane from New York or Two Live Crew from Miami. We were all together, and it didn't matter. We didn't care what type of hip hop. It was hip hop. And when we went out and we were out on the road, we moved like a family. We protected each other. So, and saying that to say, like, a lot of this separatism shit is just bullshit, and it's unfortunate for the younger generation that they do that, because they kind of block themselves from experiencing different genres and different styles and different type of music, just because they make up their mind that they're only gonna be this person. I'm gonna dress like this and I'm only gonna listen to this. So now I'm this guy, not knowing that something that you say you're not listening to may be something that you really like if you listen to it. So back then we didn't have that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I can see that totally. Hip hop is much more regional, you know, because Chicago has a sound, New York has a sound.
Well, everybody, it was always,
you know,
everybody had their sound, but we didn't discriminate against it or say just because it's there and it has a sound that we're not going to listen to it or not even give it a shot. Like we didn't put our flag in the dirt and say we only going to be this because we're that. Shit is stupid.
I hear you, man. Now you guys are on tour, but Tupac's not with you no more. He's solo at this time.
Tupac toured with us up until, I think, probably a little bit, like even after Juice, he come out and do dates with us. I think, you know, you can look it up. Whatever year Poetic Justice came out, that's probably the last time he really toured with us. And, you know, then it was just really about his solo and movie career. And, you know, he moved to LA. And once he moved to LA, then that's when I don't have much to say about it because I wasn't in LA and I was never around Death Row, so I don't know anything about Death Row. And he was only with Death Row for 9 months, which was not a very long time. So, you know, up until about 92-ish, 93, then he moved on and he started doing his own thing. So the communication with him, with me, was more through telephone, phone calls, and when we would meet up to make appearances and perform, I Get Around or record or whatever. But as far as just day to day and knowing what he was doing and what was happening, once he left the Bay Area, I can't tell you stories about that.
Were you there when he auditioned for Juice?
Yep.
What was that like?
Shit. I mean, I auditioned as well. We went together, but I knew that he was... Were
you initially the one that introduced him to the roles?
Well, I was the one that got called to go audition for the movie. But I knew that he had went to school for acting, so I asked him to help me out. And then we all was like, bro, you should come read, because this character kind of reminds us of you. And we knew that he could act. So, you know, calls were made and we were able to get him to come to the audition along with me. But we were all auditioning for different roles, me, him, and Tretch. But he was the one that actually got the role because he's the one that actually had acting skills.
A lot of people say that he changed after Juice.
You know, I would say this about that. You know, depending on how they say he changed, because to say he changed meaning that they knew him before. So a lot of people were introduced to Pac through Juice, and some of those same people are saying that he changed, but changed from what? Like, if you tell me how he changed, then I'll tell you if that's true or not.
Well, I would think that what they mainly say is that he became more like Bishop.
No,
more of a
true.
gangster.
He actually was wilder before that. When I first met him and he was young, he was more Bishop than Bishop, and he actually got a little more mature and calmed down. So by the time he did Bishop, he was just recreating some shit that he already had been. You know what I mean? So that's false in my eyes.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about stories from interviewing different people from when they knew him in high school. Like, he was always a wild dude. So, when people, it was like a common thing though. I would hear, and it was like this narrative about Tupac that he became Bishop.
Yeah, nah.
What did you think when he actually got the role? And now he's like a movie star. It seemed like that kind of took off before the music actually did.
It did, actually, and we were all happy for him because we knew that was one of his goals, was to be in a movie. So at that point he had accomplished two of his main goals that he expressed to us when he got with us, was that I want to put a record out and I want to do a movie. And he had accomplished both of those by the time he was like 21, 22 years old.